Why would the farmer put the plow in the ground in the spring if he couldn't see the vision of the harvest when the summer is finished?
We have been part of building project of the building, very same building where you are sitting right now. One day in the early 1990s, when we were getting ready to come to church, I heard a voice clearly talking to me, write a check for $1,000 for the building fund. I just looked around and she wasn't there, but it was a clear voice telling me to give $1,000 to the building fund. And though we had the money, it was not in our budget to write a $1,000 check. So I told Manu, I heard the voice to give $1,000. What do you...
And I said, we don't have any money, but if that's what God tells you to do, just do it.
Yeah, like she said, it was not in the budget, but so in belief, in totally trusting on God, He tells me to do, I had to obey His voice. I wrote a check and put $1,000 in the bag, into the offering bucket. The next morning, I went to work a little early, and I was sitting at my desk and said, how this $1,000 going to come to me? And then at that time, I got a call from my boss's office. The director called me. So I went to his office. He said, Manuel, so far you have done an excellent job. So I'm giving you a $5,000 bonus. $2,000 goes to the taxes, and here is a $3,000 check. Don't tell it to anybody, it's just for you. I was dumbstruck. And it was even before 9 o'clock, therefore, the building next to me was the Nations building in downtown, Nations Bank. I was the first person standing at the door before the door opened to deposit the $3,000 check.
At that time, our son Joe was around 6.5 years old, and he's been saving money in his piggy bank for his Bigfoot toy truck. So when he heard that the church was being built and we were looking for funds, he decided he wanted to give it all. And after he gave the funds to Pastor Steve Stiles, the same week we got a refund check from Allstate that covered not only the Bigfoot truck, but much more than that. So as a little boy, Joe's faith was increased.
The God story here is, you have to listen to the still voice. Test and see. That's what the God said. Taste and see that the Lord is good. He will do things in your life as He has promised.
I was listening to a sermon by Jonathan. And in the middle of the sermon, Jonathan stopped abruptly. He said, someone here hates something in their life. And he said, you need to stop hating that thing, and you need to start doing that for the glory of God. And I knew in that moment, it was like a lightning bolt hit me, that message was for me. He was talking to me. You see, I had grown to hate my business, the business that I had started and I had grown. And in that moment, I knew that I had to stop hating and I had to start running that business for the glory of God. And so starting the very next day, I started praying every day on the way to work, asking for God's help, asking for God's guidance, and holding my business up to His glory. Every decision that I made was for the glory of God. Everything that I did running my business was for God's glory. And things started to change quickly. All the hate was replaced with joy. And I finished up 2018 and I looked back and the results were mind-blowing. I was able to give bonuses to my employees at Christmas for the first time in the history of the business. I was able to give raises to some very deserving employees. The revenues and the net profit of the business were up 25% in 1 year. And the most important thing to me is I was able to give more money to my church last year than I've ever given in my entire life. And all of that was because I stopped hating something and started doing it for the glory of God.
From the moment I was met in the parking lot something was just different about this church than any of the other ones that I had gone to in the last 8 months. And so I came in, and luck would have it that it was the week that we were changing our name to Hope Point Church. And so I truly feel like I've been a part of the Hope Point journey from day one. But I knew in that moment, in coming that first week, that this was the family that God had for me. I walked out knowing that I won't go anywhere else. And so as we're in this season of growing our church and the amazing things that God is doing, I have this expectancy in me, not just for the church, but for what the Lord wants to do with me here. And so as I've heard the stories of folks who were part of the first campaign and who have planted the church and just all the history, I hear it every week and in the conversations, and there's a part of me that's so excited to be a part of such legacy and am grateful to build on the shoulders of giants. But I'm also excited for the new chapter because it means it's my turn. It means that those stories aren't just for them anymore, that I actually get to be a part of the story. And I have a very tangible way when I'm able to invest myself, my resource, and my faith in Hope Point in the next season of this church, and truly have the opportunity to call it my home. And so I'm really excited to be here, but not just be here, but to plant here. And not just plant here, but to sow, and then watch what the Lord is going to do with the seed and grow Hope Point Church in the future. And so as I do that, I just really hope that each of you join me on the journey.
Is it possible to see the finished harvest? And the answer is yes. We do that simply by faith. Key phrase, faith is the ability to see things that don't yet exist. And that's how things exist.